Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Things Love. I'm your host, Kelly Garnett from Sacred Dating. And today I have Cyndi Olin on our show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks
Cyndi, give
for
us a little
having me.
insight. You're welcome. Give us a little insight in what you do. It's amazing. I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me on, and that's a great question. I really work as a catalyst in dating, relating, and partnership. A lot of times my clients are like, you're my last stop until they bring in that person or elevate their relationship to the next level or choose to go a different direction and really bring in that divine, sacred partnership that they're seeking. So I tend to work with women that are overdoing, high achieving. They expect a lot from themselves, and therefore they tend to bring that into their relationships. And they usually end up feeling resentful and frustrated
Mm,
and or they're really in their heads, so they're not necessarily dating effectively. Because if we're dating effectively, we're actually in our body and we're able to be open and an open vessel to give and receive energy flow, is what I like to call it, and see when a man is coming towards them rather than when he is not, and
yeah,
how to distinguish healthy masculine partner, because that's the buzzword, right? These
right.
days, healthy partnership, whatever you want to call it, that's the goal. But usually we've got to take a look under your hood, so to speak, and really look at who you've been and have you really been open to receive? A
Mm,
lot of women aren't open to receive, or they think they are and they aren't.
I love
Yeah.
that. Beautiful. So I wanted to start with the one question that I ask everybody, which is what do you find that most people get wrong about love?
They're not really loving, actually. What I mean by that is they're looking at it from a very egoic place for it to feed them rather than to co-create, rather
Mhm.
than seeing themselves as a vessel of love. They're not able to, and they see, oh, I don't have a partner or as lack. And then there's a projection of that. Well, all the men on dating apps suck, or this, where are all the high quality men? I could go on and on and on, but they're operating in lack. They're not operating truly from love and belief in a vision that they have and making their vision more important than a man in front of them.
My gosh, I love that so much. It's so funny because in some of these groups that I'm in on Facebook where I see how people are navigating the dating world, and it's about high value women. And I don't know if you've had this experience where they come in and they're complaining about low effort and oh, I would never go on a coffee date or a walk, a free date. And what are you wanting then, ladies? What do you have you experienced this?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, I've been doing this forever, so I've experienced it all, but this is very common. And this is what I like, this is what I tell my clients around this. So let's just say many people are meeting on a dating app. Would you agree? Or
Yeah.
maybe you're meeting from a networking event. Maybe you meet out and about. This is a stranger. They are a stranger. So, with a stranger, I don't think there's anything wrong with meeting for a coffee to really do kind of a vibe check.
Yes.
How do I feel when and these are things, maybe write these things down, guys. And I have a whole spreadsheet that I give to my clients as they're dating. And I'm like, look, ask yourself these questions. How am I feeling in my body around this person? Get out of your head. Stop judging the fact that he forgot to wave down the waiter. He forgot to do the whatever. It's a first meeting. give the guy grace. He might be a little nervous around you. He may find you attractive. There's so many things. And as long as the flip side of the coin, is he rude to the waiter? Is he looking at his phone the whole time? Is he distracted? That's a different story. That's like, ooh, I don't really feel that good around this person in my body. But if it's little things that you're like, I'm not sure about this, well, great. That's what getting to know one another is about. And quite frankly, if we rush to a dinner, let's say for a first date, and let's say it takes you out to a really nice place, that dinner may take a few hours at least.
Yes.
And I don't believe first dates, first meet and greets should be that long.
Right.
And what can also happen if you're feeling a bit of chemistry, you could stay there longer and longer. And for men, the thing is that if he finds out a lot about you on a first date, that can close off his curiosity towards you.
Hmm.
So it could be like, let's just say the dinner was like, I'll give you an example. This might help. So I had worked with this woman, and I remember she would have this pattern of going out on dates, and she would stay a while, and she was sweet, she was beautiful, she all the things, right? That, yeah, I feel like most of our clients are. And so you got to walk me through. Tell me about the date. Tell me what happened. And so she goes, we ended up sitting at the bar. We decided to order some appetizers. He ordered a bottle of wine. We were drinking the wine. Then we ate dinner. So this is a long time. And then we just kept talking, and it was just amazing. And I was like, awesome. So what was amazing about it? I don't know. I just really love the chat we had. But she never heard from him again. And I'm sure he enjoyed it, but she didn't leave before he wanted her to. So he probably had a point in the evening where he wanted to go, and he was being probably polite to her. And so she would run into this, and I said, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to leave before he wants you to. So that means you're not going to share a bottle of wine. You're going to have one glass, two max, but I would say one, especially on an early date. And if you want to grab a little quick bite, fine.
Mhm.
So she started doing that. Soon thereafter, she met her man. She's now happily married, and all things are good. But she had to learn some of those lessons and understand a man's psyche too, on if you give him everything, if you give somebody everything in the beginning, they don't have anything to be curious for. And men are hunters by nature. So they
Right.
like to put effort towards things. And the things that they're putting effort towards, they value.
Definitely. I love that. One of my friends used to always say her mom taught her, leave them wanting more.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's simply that.
Yeah.
And it's not a game either, because
Right.
I think a lot of people think, "Oh, aren't you playing a game?" No, you're not playing a game. You're just leaving a little bit before he wants you to.
Hmm.
And he will work, he will close that gap. And that's the fear that so many women have. And they think, oh, I'm not going to meet somebody like this. It's so rare. But whatever you believe, you'll receive evidence for.
Hmm.
So if you actually believe there's a lot of really great men, I know the right ones are coming towards me. I know
Yeah.
I get to learn lessons, even if they're not the person
Mhm.
along the way. But when we're outcome focused, then we become a little bit more desperate energy. This has got to work. If it doesn't, there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with them. And that's the wound of the feminine. What's wrong with me? There's got to be something wrong with me. I'm too much or I'm not enough.
It's so true. I love what you just said about that. I love what you said that they're just so outcome focused.
If you can have your vision, you gotta trust that everything that you're experiencing along the way is part of your learning. And
Hmm.
it's part of your learning to get you to a partnership that really truly aligns with your frequency.
Hmm.
And as you raise your frequency through learning, and that might be like, oh gosh, I drew the line in the sand here. I realize maybe I tend to attract unavailable men. And what is that? How does that manifest? How does it feel? And maybe I've gotten really roped up in the emotion of it rather than looking at what are the facts here and what
Yeah.
am I worthy of receiving instead. So when women start drawing the line in the sand, I work with some men too, but when they start drawing the line in the sand that, oh, this isn't personal, I'm just not available for that. I'm only available for people that are relationship ready. It doesn't mean that you're getting in a relationship with them. It
Right.
just means that they're in a space where that's something they're ready to receive in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're not going to tolerate not that.
Right.
That was the journey I went on. I was like, what am I doing at emotionally available men? And thinking
Right.
that that was a way to protect myself from getting hurt. Such a flaw in the plan.
And it's usually unconscious, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
usually something within our psyche or our childhood that said, I've got to protect myself.
Hmm.
I've got to protect myself, and I can't be fully open.
Yeah.
I know that's been part of my journey as well. Or who do I become in relationship? Do I abandon myself? When you start to notice your patterns in your psyche, and that's what a really good coach can help you with. It's part of the reason why we're here.
Mhm.
And we can help you pinpoint that and shift those patterns and habits to a different place, which is uncomfortable at first. But then you start noticing the response you get, it's different. And then your ability to be vulnerable and be able to share, which I teach. My clients always call me the communication queen. They're like, how did you come up with that? And I didn't come up with it in my head because I used to really be in my head. And what I learned is to get into my body and I feel things and I go, oh, well, I dropped in my heart. And I noticed, and I had to learn this skill set. It's a
Yeah.
skill set.
Yeah, me too.
Right. And I had to really get rid of the noise and be able to drop in to my heart and go, well, how does that feel? Oh, that feels kind of hard. But am I getting what they're saying right? Because communication is also interpretation. And that's what we get triggered about is our interpretation. So once we flip the story around, we can start to see things differently. And
Yeah.
so if you're like, oh man, what I heard you say was that it seemed that you didn't really want to go to XYZ there. It just seemed like you weren't that excited about this XYZ thing. It did I miss something or did I get
Right.
it wrong? And they're going to say, oh, no, no, I didn't mean that. I just had meetings up until this time, but it would work better. Can we do it a little bit later? Right?
We take it so personally.
Right. Even if I direct somebody read the Four Agreements, it's
Yeah.
still, I think I've read that book, and I'm not kidding, probably 50 times. And I've gotten different things from it because it's so, our ego wants to personalize. Our ego wants to go down that just dark, dreary path. And our ego wants to be the hero. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Actor. That ego, man, it's a sneaky little creature. hanging out in the background, wanting to, I mean,
It's right there.
it wants to protect us. It does have the best of intentions, but it's so out of alignment with what I would say most people want to experience. And for allowing it to run the
A
job
lot of
board
people don't
show,
realize they're even running in the ego, but we don't need to have that conversation. Anyway,
that's a whole other
it's a whole nother talk.
yes.
But the truth is that a lot of times what I notice women do when it comes to dating and relating, they'll go into they don't understand love, they understand transaction. So they go, he took me to these couple nice dinners. I should take care of something. I should go, I don't know, I should buy a really nice dinner, or I should go do this, or I should show him something. But energy flow isn't that. He gives, you receive, and you gratitude and affirmation for a man is like an aphrodisiac. They love it.
Yeah.
It's why, and I'll just paint this ugly picture that a lot of people don't want to see, but it's kind of like if you're in a marriage and maybe you guys rose up together. You've seen these things, right? And she supported him through school and he's doing all these awesome things, but she's just in the grind and she's snapping at him, not seeing his greatness, not continuing to build him up and support him as well as herself because he'd give that back to her. She's instead jealous and bitter. She
Mm,
starts to become that way, let's just
mhm.
say, or she's just not even noticing. And
Right.
then next thing you, a woman at his work or his office, she notices him and she's like, wow, you do that so brilliantly, and this and that. And then he thinks he's in love with her. And then it's like a whole thing. But that gratitude piece and seeing someone, especially the masculine, and that is shifts the frequency of everything. And
Mm,
if the feminine can see that energy flow, I don't owe him my gratitude. If you see something and you think, "Oh my gosh, he would really love that." Sure, pick it up, bring it to him, make him something. It
yeah.
doesn't have to be a gesture that is all about a looking good conversation, is all about transaction. Oh, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. That's
Right.
love.
That's not the flow.
No, and it's not love. It's transaction.
Mm,
And it's I owe you. And people, I have people come to me and they get lost in that. How do I co-create with them again? Well, first of all, you got to start loving yourself. You got to stop abandoning yourself because that's probably what you're doing.
yeah.
Secondly, you've got to really think, what's my vision? And then start feeding yourself and then show him appreciation because the right men, the right healthy masculine guys that really freaking get it, they know the right woman will help them go higher and higher in life. And that she will just continue to blow that flame because her belief in him brings him higher and it brings her higher too. And it's so cool.
Oh,
It's the most beautiful thing.
yeah.
But is what can happen if you have a rocky year, life happens.
Right.
It can be easy for the ego, even. It can be easy for a man that kind of saw it before not to see that.
Mm,
And that's where real danger comes in
hmm.
because then they'll inevitably probably they leave the relation or whatever,
Yeah.
they'll inevitably end up with somebody that's not able to do that, that actually doesn't understand that energy flow and that building, and then things start to fall apart.
Right.
Why a lot of men and women do it too. So I'm not just saying men. A lot of men that go do that thing, they're like, why did I because obviously she was 50% of the equation as well.
Right.
But when women understand how to do that and how to co-create that way, the sky's the limit. Partnership, and there's just so much abundance and goodness and miracles that open up just from that there.
You got me so mesmerized. You're like, oh, it's so good when
But
they
it really
with each
is.
other.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh,
It truly is. Are there times? Yeah. Can
of course.
relationships be challenging? Yes. Do I struggle in communication in my relationships? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is never about perfection. And it's so when we're in our heads, we're in perfection. Oh, I've got to get it right. I've got to say it exactly how Cyndi said it. No, you don't. You just want to get the framework. You want to
Yeah.
understand that, and you want to understand how to communicate with what's inside of you
Mm,
in a way that's loving and vulnerable
yeah.
so that he can hear you. Because men hear different things. And if we're going, they can't hear you, they'll shut down.
Yeah. 100% they will. And I love just dropping into your heart and communicating from there. You'll never go wrong. You just never will. Because,
If it
yeah,
comes from a pure place, you
right.
won't go wrong.
Oh,
And even if you stumble on your words, and even if he doesn't receive it right away, I'll never forget in the beginning of my partnership, he would get triggered real good. And I knew how to breathe through it and not take a trigger on. Because if we're taking triggers on of our partner, I just felt like we needed to talk about this,
yeah.
or somebody we're dating, they're associating that trigger with us.
Right.
And so then it becomes harder to move past. And so I remember earlier on, I would try to communicate in the way that I do, and something would trigger him. I have no idea what it was. I'd be like, oh, what did I say?
Yeah.
But I just lean back, and he would sometimes have a dramatic thing that he would do. And I was like, and I will never forget. I don't know what it was, but he was like dramatically threw something in the garbage. And I was like, I just sat there and just did my thing. And he looked up at me and I'm like, you done? We good? And it was a pattern interrupt. And I didn't react in a negative way. I didn't go, why did you do so? It wasn't anything like that. I was just like, eh. And
Hmm.
what happened, because he wasn't used to having relationships that weren't poking the bear, that were giving to get, that weren't trying to actually be in the heart. And
Mm,
when he realized that, and this is true for many men, most men have experienced some things where they feel like they've got to protect themselves, just like we do, just like so much harder for a woman. We talk about vulnerability, and it's you're coming from your head, not from your heart.
right.
Vulnerability is like, gosh, man, I dropped into my heart and I was feeling this. Maybe you didn't, I'm sure that's not what you meant to do.
Right.
This is what I was experiencing. And maybe I created a story around that or whatever.
Which
Um,
we're famous for.
yeah. And so part of the journey there is to, excuse me, I have a runny nose, guys. I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
no worries.
And so,
Part of
what
the journey.
So it's actually having that patience for our
Yeah.
humanness.
Yes.
And the feminine is actually the emotional leader. So when we are safe on those levels, and I'm not saying they do provide safety and they should be safe, but they feel more safe to actually be open with us. And be able to dig a little bit deeper with what's happening or what they might be experiencing. And it's the same thing when we project our triggers onto them.
Yeah.
It's really important when you do feel triggered, and I have a whole process, but to actually allow that trigger to move through your body, most of the time as women, we leave it stuck. Usually leave it stuck right around our solar plexus, our heart, and we've got to know how to move that through,
Mhm.
forgive whatever it is, because usually that's a story. It's not usually based on a fact. And be able to come to the other side instead of worrying about behavior. He did that wrong, or he did this, or he did whatever. It's being able to process it through, forgive, that's not really them. And not to say you shouldn't have boundaries,
Right, right,
have
right.
certain standards to go by, which I have checklists on those things, but it's just important to leave that space for you to breathe. So you're not coming from a place of accusation. You're not coming from a defensive stature. You're
Yep.
coming from a heart-centered place. You're coming from love, and
Yeah.
you're seeking to understand, and you're able to be open and curious. But most of the time, our nervous systems are so fried that we're jumping and we don't have the capacity to do that. And that's why I have a program, Safe to Love, that we really work with the nervous system and how to actually get it attuned for open, receptive love, and how to bring yourself back to that when you've gone popped out. But
There is so much. I love it. There was something that you said. What was it? Oh, I love, sorry, I'm so mesmerized by what you were saying. I'll edit this out. It's okay, but shoot. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll keep
yeah.
moving on. But there was so much goodness in all of that. I love that. What about the nervous system and moving that through? It's so interesting how it becomes, I didn't understand until recently the intelligence of the nervous system. Like it's
Extreme.
so much more operational in what we're doing. Yes, ego, but also the nervous system. I've caught myself so many times where it's just like that exact thing, the feeling it in the solar plexus or in my heart. And I just have to like just taking a
Yeah.
moment and decompressing and moving through it. And oh, I know what I was going to say. And then asking, what does love need? There's what he did, his behavior or my behavior, what happened.
What's the entity need? And also, what would love do? If you're operating out of love, I don't care if you're dating or you barely know this guy. What would love do?
Yeah.
Because if we're coming from that place, we tend to soften. And I can show you exercises on how to get your breathing is one. Going in for a 5 breath, hold it on top, go down for 6, repeat that 4 times.
Yeah.
Getting into your body,
Mhm.
noticing your breath, noticing what's happening in your body. And most of the time, we don't do that. That can get us back into more of a sympathetic place so that we're open. A
Mhm.
lot of times I'll speak with women and they'll go, "Oh, I couldn't tell him that." But the reason why you couldn't tell him that is probably because you froze. And
Yeah.
you froze and you went in your head and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to feel dumb because he's going to think." You're worried about what he thinks instead of operating from your heart. Even if a man doesn't want what you want, the right kind of man will say, most of them will anyway, they'll be like, "Gosh, I can really appreciate that that's what you want. And I'm really not in that space
Right.
this time." It's not personal. I promise you, it would be that way with the next one and the next one after that
Right.
until he's gotten himself in a place where he decides that that is important to him. And I know you guys are going to argue with me and you're going to say, "Well, if I was the right woman, maybe," but not if a man, men are different than women. Women are always ready, set, jump. If the right man comes in, I'm going to be in a relationship. I want that most of the time, especially if you're watching something like this. But men are different. They could be in a period of their life where that's where we're in a relationship. They really want that relationship and for whatever reason that ends. And then they might decide, well, I'm not in that space. I don't have the capacity for that
Yeah.
responsibility at this point in my life or whatever. And that's fine. It's not you, but you got to move on.
Right.
The thing, you can't just keep hanging on,
Exactly.
hoping the guy is going to change his mind because they don't.
But then
And
they don't, they also, the ladies, the women don't think, but maybe it's because he's not right for me. I'm right for
yeah,
him.
so then there's that too. It's like, well, if he's telling you that and this
Yeah.
is what you really want or
Right.
what you think you want,
Yeah.
then you've got to make your vision more important than that person in front of
Yeah.
you.
I
And
love that.
so you get to keep moving and be like a shark. We just move forward, right?
Exactly.
We're not looking back. And
Yeah.
if that particular certain someone is meant to come back into your path or in your life, great, maybe they do.
Oh,
I've seen that happen as well.
yeah.
It's not, but I promise you, he's not the end all be all. There's so
Exactly.
many other men out there,
Exactly.
and there's some really fantastic men.
I love
Drives me nuts is when so there's some people that don't respect your time or don't show up that way. Awesome. I learned early. Perfect. That's not in alignment. I
that.
can stay in the learning and move up the scale. Oh, no more of that
Right.
is what I'm
Exactly.
receiving. Focus on what you want, not your war stories.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe that came through for me for a learning.
Right.
Maybe there's a mirror there. Where am I not showing up for myself? Where do I not respect other people's time and energy and relationships? That could be hard to look at, but
Right.
there's usually some things there. There's usually some gold nuggets.
Right.
And it's not about making you wrong or anything like that. It's about illuminating it and then going, well, who do I want to be? Who do I get to be to receive the love that I say that I want?
I love it.
And continuing to grow that version of you.
I love it. Yes, it's so great. And I love the illuminating it. But sometimes too, if he's saying no, that doesn't resonate with me, maybe not in those words, but no, I'm not, I don't think we're a match. Maybe that's universe, God,
Awesome.
whoever saying
Awesome.
this is not your person.
Yes.
And it's coming
Yay.
through him.
Move on. Yes.
Exactly. All right. We could keep going for hours, and I love this so much, Cyndi, but I want to wrap up with one more question for you. And what has love taught you about yourself?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I continue to learn. I've continued to learn about love
Yeah.
and love deeper. It's taught me about my commitment and resiliency
Mm,
around being a stand for love and love within myself first, and then
beautiful.
everything else.
Yeah.
And really, it's taught me humility. It's
Mm,
taught me to get used to being uncomfortable and get used to being, all right, I'm going in. I get to have this or share this. And it's become so expansive, not just in your partnership, but your family and where else. Because if you can operate from the place that we are love,
yes.
our love when we're
Really
truly
are.
operating from love, not transaction, not
Yeah.
what he's doing for me, not doing his inventory, not blah, but know that love is like we're warriors. We get to go deeper with our love. And when you have a partner that's able to do energy flow, which is not arguing, stonewalling, making you wrong, projecting their guilt upon you, that's the opposite of love. Now, do people do that? Do our humans do that? Have I done that? Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
not perfect, but guess what? I can see it. When I do that, I'm able to go back and say, you know what? I showed up in a way that doesn't feel good. And I want to acknowledge that. And know that I'm still going to make mistakes, but you didn't deserve that. And I
Yeah.
want to just coming from that humble place. And men really respond well to that. And the
Yeah.
right kind of man, if he's the wrong kind of man, he might try to manipulate you from that place. And if you're used to being criticized, shamed, or manipulated, you may not be able to decipher that.
Right.
Something I work with my clients around on a deeper level, like that discernment piece, being
Yep.
able to see things from discernment and
Yeah.
love and
Yeah.
peace,
Yeah.
not from, well, you did wrong, you did that wrong, and having your egos be in that competition because
Right.
that only creates division. It doesn't create what you truly want, which is union.
Mm,
So,
exactly.
anyway.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I would love to have you on again because, again, we could talk for hours.
I would too. I know it's so fun. I love your energy. You're just
Thank
awesome,
you. You
Kelly.
are too.
I
I'll put all
appreciate
your
it.
info in the notes if anybody wants to find you and learn more about Cyndi. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give you a little free gift, you guys, to
Oh, beautiful.
then you can, it's about a love-based communication. So it'll give you a little taste test of what that is and start to practice it and opportunity to chat with me or someone on my team if you want to go a little bit deeper.
I
But
love that.
anyway,
That will be wonderful. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.
bye.